we will call that clearly attempted theft. So let's call it as it is.
A few moments later.
The story has already been updated. The updated version is still available, and the original reporting was taken down. So once again, I submit to you my apologies as well. And once again, my apologies to Ms. Comrie. At least we know that you had a good faith reason to believe you had access to that rented bike.
Now, the Young Turks' Dr. Rashad Richey has now issued a public apology to the hospital worker caught on video arguing with 5 young men about a CITI bike that she allegedly rented. Now, if you don't know this story, here's a quick recitation of the facts. On May 12, 2023, this hospital worker rented a CITI bike and went to pick it up from outside the hospital she was working at. She had just finished a 12-hour shift and she is 6 months pregnant. When she arrived to unlock the bike, 5 men started claiming that the bike she rented was theirs. An argument ensued and the infamous video was shot. The pregnant woman then yells for help as 5 young men demand that she allow them to take the bike. Another worker assists her and asks the group to reset the bike to remove any confusion as to who rented the bike. The men then refuse to reset the bike.
Hassan, Hassan, you pulled it out?
This is my bike, it's on my account. Please move.
All right, so why don't we reset the bike?
I'm not resetting the bike.
It's his.
Reset it. I'm gonna pull it out on your account.
You are active.
I don't give a fuck.
Eventually, the bike was reset and the pregnant hospital worker then takes another bike and rides it home. Now, she has provided receipts to show that she rented the bike on the day in question, but blacked out the time of the rental. Now, her lawyers claim that they will be suing everyone who called her a thief and attempted to destroy her life.
I don't know. I haven't spoke to that other individual.
Well, when are you going to get an answer, sir?
We are going to get an answer when we start filing defamation lawsuits.
Wow. It's going to go to that? You
well,
feel that
the
your
media
client's been defamed?
Without question. She's been called a racist. She's been called a thief. There are reasons defamation laws exist, and we plan to pursue that.
Okay, there is a witness to this who apparently talked her into renting another bike.
That's correct.
And what's his story?
I can't speak. I haven't spoke to the other individual. And I want to be very clear. Our defamation is against the media and the way they blew this into a disaster for her.
Specifically, which media?
Every organization that referred to her as a Karen, a racist, and a thief.
Wow. Looking for money, or what are you looking for?
Looking to right or wrong. We're doing that here through the public, letting them know what happened, but we're going to do it through the court system as well, so that these institutions are going to think twice before they try to ruin someone's life.
Well, so these are the facts as we know them today. Now, Dr. Rashad Richey went above and beyond. He first released this woman's first and last name publicly, which is known as doxing. He called for this woman's employer to discipline her, which eventually they did. They actually put her on leave. He claimed that she committed the crime of attempted theft, claiming without evidence that the men had actually rented the bike and that she was trying to steal it from them. Now, with these facts that you just heard, Dr. Rashad Richey had to delete his original video because it was filled with defamatory information. And he now has put up 2 subsequent videos. And this is the last video that he's put up on the subject. Now, let's react to his apology.
The story has already been updated. The updated version is still available. And the original reporting was taken down. I want to provide context and a direct examination, as well as provide an apology. Let me put up the picture full mass. Last week, 35 million individuals viewed a video. It was viral. This video showed a woman screaming help and black males around her disputing about a bike. Well, in that, there were 2 narratives. One narrative was to believe the young people. The other narrative was to believe the adult. In that instance, I believed the young person.
Now, this was Dr. Rashad Richey's first mistake. Why did he believe one side over the other side? Neither side presented any receipts, and they're arguing over a bike. But he instinctively wanted to believe that a 6-month pregnant woman would try to steal a CITI bike from 5 black youth. That doesn't even make any sense, but he, because, of reasons, just said, hey, I'm going to believe the 5 black youths, and I'm going to believe that this pregnant woman coming from a 12-hour shift is going to aggressively try to steal their CITI bike.
I still believe that there's a good faith reason why both possibly believed that they actually had access to that bike.
Now, I would suspect that Dr. Rashad Richey would have some receipts to show why he had this good faith belief that they had access to the bike and she had access to the bike. Because, right, it doesn't make sense to just believe one side if there's no receipts. So maybe he's going to tell us why he honestly believes that these 5 black youths that he doesn't know, he's going to later say he doesn't know who they are, he has seen no receipts from them, but why he accepts their version of events without any proof, without any evidence, just on their word. He's going to explain that to us, hopefully further on.
At no point did I ever believe that the young black male was trying to rob the female in question. But now it has been reported that there's a receipt showing she had a good faith reason to believe that the city bike was hers. Naturally, that information has not been rebutted nor confirmed at all by the others involved. We're still waiting for an update. Also, City Bike has not confirmed, at least at this point, how this could have happened where 2 individuals possibly believed that they both rented that same bike at the same time. Over 35 million views, well over 100 publications covered it, and there were 2 narratives. My advocacy was connected to their youth, not their race.
Now, if that was true, if his advocacy was dedicated to their youth and not their race, why take any sides at all? Really think about this, people. You have a woman, 6 months pregnant, coming from a 12-hour shift, going to a bike rack. And his first assumption is that she's trying to steal the bike from them. Does that even make any sense? But again, he's now trying to pull back the race grifter mentality and say, hey, I was just advocating for these young people, these 5 young black men, or, let's take the word black out. These 5 young men versus this one pregnant woman coming from a 12-hour shift. I believe them. I believe she tried to steal the bike from them, not them trying to steal the bike from her. But now we say he doesn't believe anybody's trying to steal the bike. He was mistaken.
There was also a statement from the hospital that called the incident disturbing. I want everyone to know that my advocacy was not in bad faith. It doesn't mean that it wasn't wrong. It doesn't mean that the youth operated in bad faith either.
Now, Dr. Richey is correct. We don't know why these black youths believe that this bike was theirs. There could have been some glitch in the system where it rented it to 2 people at the same time. But as of right now, we only have one set of receipts that says this woman was the one who rented the bike. We have no receipts from the other side. So now to just claim that it's an equal story, that's just not true. One side has provided receipts, the other side has provided absolutely nothing.
Possibly there's an explanation why both believed they were in fact entitled to that particular bike. I say that to highlight a reality here, okay? I'm a zealous advocate. I've always been a zealous advocate, will continue to be so. But I'm not Fox News. When I'm presented with evidence that shows, well, at least contrary to the overall conclusion that somehow she knew she did not have access to that bike. Well, that's not true if the receipts are real. She believed she had access to the bike. So for that matter, to the woman who was in the middle of this, I submit to you my apologies as a man. Now, I do not like the fact that you screamed, "Help me," when you were not being robbed. I still have an issue with that.
Now, this is where I think Dr. Rashad Richey is being disingenuous. Put yourself in this woman's position. 12-hour shift, 6 months pregnant. She comes out and goes to the bike where she has rented, and 5 men come up and demand the bike. And he's claiming she shouldn't have screamed, "Help, help, help." They're demanding I give over the bike that I just rented. And if I don't comply, what's going to happen? And if I give them the bike, I lose $1,200. What else is she supposed to do? If she calls 911, she's wrong, right? So it seems like this was a damned if you do, damned if you don't. And I'm going to ask you, the audience, what should she have done? One woman, 6 months pregnant, jumps on a bike, and 5 youths, but not even going to call them black youths, 5 men come up and demand the bike. and tell her, you're going to give us that bike. She screams, help. What else was she supposed to scream? Now, before we get to the rest of this video, here's a quick word from our video sponsor. All right, let's talk about some facts real quick. Your personal information is being sold and published online without you even knowing about it. Now, the good news is that you have the right to protect your privacy by requesting that data brokers who aggregate this information delete the information that they have about you. But how many times have you done that? Now, for those of you who've tried to do that, it could take years to do it manually, contacting each particular data broker and trying to get them to delete your information. So you may be asking, well, what type of data do these data brokers have? Well, they have things like your phone number, date of birth, education, full name, who your relatives are, your IP addresses, gender, social security number, shopping habits, email, financial institutions, home address, and employment history. Yes, they traffic in your data. Now you know about the problem? Well, here comes the solution. See, Incogni reaches out to each one of these data brokers on your behalf and requests that your personal data be removed, and it deals with any objections from their side. Since many data brokers collect your personal data again after some time, they also take care that your data stay off the market by conducting repeated and ongoing removals. This makes their yearly subscription especially advantageous, as Incogni will continue to protect your data and privacy the whole time. Now, I have a special deal for you. The first 100 people to use the offer code The Lawyer, yes, The Lawyer, in the description will get 60% off Incogni. Just click the link in the description and use the offer code again, The Lawyer, for 60% off. It just takes 3 easy steps. First, create an account, grant Incogni the right to work for you, kick back and watch them work. And just for those of you who are skeptical, Incogni offers a 30-day risk-free money-back guarantee, meaning anyone can try it out for themselves and you get a full refund if you're not happy with the service. Now click on the link in the description to see if Incogni is right for you.
I don't like the people who are saying all over social media that these young black men were trying to rob the woman in that moment. I do not believe that's what happened. Still don't believe that's what was happening. I believe that they both believed that they had access to that city bike. And until we have additional information, well, that's where it's at now.
Now, the funniest part about this particular statement that he's making is that that's the exact assumption that he made before. Listen to what he said previously, because he just assumed that she was trying to steal the bike from the 5 black men. But now, all of a sudden, well, we don't want to assume that they were trying to steal the bike from her, even though she's provided receipts to show that she rented the bike. Listen to what he said before. Listen to how when it was the 6-month pregnant white woman who's coming off a 12-hour shift, it was easy to say that she was a thief. But now he doesn't want to go on and say that possibly the youth, the 5 youth who ganged up on her and said, hey, give us the bike. There's obviously no one should believe that they were trying to steal the bike from her.
Which is theft under any other circumstance. We will call this attempted theft if the black male went up to the white female who paid for her opportunity to utilize the device and he decided to grab it and try to take it. We will call that clearly attempted theft. So let's call it as it is.
Before, he even said, if we have proof that this white woman rented the bike and these black men came and tried to take it from her, we would call that attempted theft. But he then concludes, well, she was doing it to them. They rented the bike and she was trying to steal it from him. So she is committing attempted theft. But now he doesn't want to say that, right? He doesn't want to go with his own conclusion. So now he has to clean it up and say, hey, nobody was stealing from anybody, even though she has provided the receipts. He can't go to the conclusion. He can't do it.
But I want to make it very clear. What we do here is opinion commentary. Sometimes that opinion can be incorrect, but it doesn't mean it was developed nor presented in bad faith.
Now, this piece is the legal piece to it. This is because I think his lawyers got to him and said, you got to make it clear that you're not giving any facts. You're giving straight opinions. And this show, no one should think that Dr. Rashad Richey is giving anyone any facts. This is all opinions, right? He doesn't want to be held responsible for claiming that this woman was a thief. So what does he say? Well, this is an opinion show. Why? Because opinions aren't covered under defamation. You can't charge someone for defamation for having an opinion. It can only be for statements of fact. And he's saying, hey, nobody watching my show, no reasonable person would believe that we're giving any facts. These are just opinions. And that's because he's trying to protect himself from a defamation suit. And then he goes on to also claim that he had a reasonable belief that this was true. But what reasonable belief did he have? He just had a video where one side was saying, you're taking a bike from me. The other side saying, you're taking a bike from me. And he concluded that the white woman was the thief and the black men were the victims. And he says that is all just his opinion, calling her a thief and saying that she's tried to steal their bike without any evidence. He's saying that's just his opinion, and that's not a fact.
And when there's a moment like this, I can't speak for everybody else, I can speak for me. When there's a moment like this, I will always look into this camera and let you know specifically that I am sorry for getting it wrong, because I give a damn about getting it right. And so, ma'am, once again, I apologize. And I concur with your attorney, who, by the way, I don't think the attorney believes, based on his own wording, that the young men were involved in a robbery as it has been presented or suggested on social media.
So now Dr. Richey has to defend the black youth because, again, under his own example, if we had proof that this white woman rented the bike and the black youth came up to her and tried to take the bike that she rented, that's a theft. That's an attempted theft. That's essentially a robbery. And now people are saying, well, hey, yeah, Dr. Richey, you said that, so it's true. Those black youths were robbing her because now we have the proof. We have the evidence, just like you said. So now he's got to go back into his bag of tricks. Well, I don't believe that's true. And now he's going to now claim that, hey, even her attorney doesn't believe that's true. But this is what happens when you're trying to grift so hard on race, is that now his own words are coming back to bite him because he just told his audience.
Which is theft under any other circumstance. We will call this attempted theft if the black male went up to the white female who paid for her opportunity to utilize the device and he decided to grab it and try to take it. We will call that clearly attempted theft. So let's call it as it is.
As you can see, he doesn't want to call it as it is because just like he just said in the previous video, right? The video that's now deleted. If she can prove that she rented the bike, she has the receipt, and they can prove that these black youths went to try to take the bike from her, that's attempted theft. So now he's got to protect them. He's got to say, no, that's not protected theft, because maybe he's afraid of a defamation lawsuit from them. Who knows?
So once again, I submit to you my apologies as well. And once again, my apologies to Ms. Comrie. At least we know that you had a good faith reason to believe you had access to that rented bike. But I see the comments also about screaming help. I understand that. I do believe that was a little much. But once again, the conclusion that you did not have access to it, I completely, I want to make this clear. I completely changed my conclusion that you had no access, nor did you believe you did. All right? Okay.
Now I'm going to say this. I believe Dr. Rashad Richey's apology is sincere. I honestly think that he made a mistake and got it wrong. And he was jumping the gun, saying this woman was a thief, saying that he just believed that this pregnant woman who's 6 months pregnant, who just come out a 12-hour shift of working at a hospital, would come out and attack 5 men and try to steal their bike. I think he realizes that he jumped the gun and he needed more information before making claims like she was a thief and she was liable. And now this video is an attempt to fix their defamation issue, right? He's just making opinions. Nobody should believe the show is spewing any facts. It's just all mistakes. But I'm going to say something that may make some of you upset. I believe Dr. Richey has done the right thing here. I believe that we all make mistakes. I've made mistakes on this channel and said things that I regret. And there is no reason why they can't be learning experiences. And I think this may be a learning experience for this channel and for this man. And I do watch his content, and I think some of his stuff is really, really good and valuable, but I think some of his stuff is just meant to inflame racial tensions in America. But that's fine, right? Everybody has their grift, so to say. But I think when you do get it wrong, And clearly, I think at this point, he got it wrong. The best thing to do is own up, talk into that camera, and tell people, hey, listen, I got this wrong. It was a mistake. Now, I do think in this particular apology, he's trying to kind of walk that fine line. We're saying, well, I was right about some things, but I wasn't right about everything, and this. But at the end of the day, I think he put his big boy pants on and manned up, looked into that camera and said, hey, I messed this up, and I'm sorry. I deleted that video, and I'm making a public apology to this woman because we got it wrong. Now, the question is to you. Would you now sue Dr. Richey after he's come up with these essentially 2 apologies? And remember the facts here. He doxed this woman. He released her name, her full name, right? Where she worked, called on her employer to discipline her, and he claimed without any evidence that she committed the crime of attempted theft, essentially a robbery, right? She was trying to take the bike from this man. And he claimed that without evidence. And that was out there for a while until more evidence came out. And he didn't even do this apology until her lawyers said, hey, we're coming after all these people who said that she committed this theft, that called her a Karen, that said that she didn't rent the bike, that she was stealing the bike from them. So I'm going to throw it to you guys. Do you think this is enough to save him from a defamation lawsuit? Would you sue Dr. Richey if you were in this hospital worker's shoes? Let me know in the comment section. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'll see you next time. Peace.